everybody, welcome back to the channel. Joining me today is our guest, Alex von Westenholz, known to everyone as Ali.
Yep.
And AVW Antiques.
Yep, that's the one.
So what we're trying to do today is, with our guests, get a feeling of the trade, because I think what's shown on TV is not accurate to what is the real antiques trade.
No.
So I think what I'm going to try and do is paint a real picture of it by having guests in, and everyone talking about their side of the trade.
Very good.
Nice,
yeah.
So how long have you been trading?
About 15 years solely.
And what attracted you to it?
I had an uncle, I still have an uncle, who is quite prominent as a dealer and a decorator. And I suppose that was probably one of the main things, because he lived next to us where I grew up.
Yeah.
And going around his house from a very young age and just seeing incredible pieces of furniture and taxidermy, that definitely sort of sparked things off. And I knew I wasn't really cut out for a sort of desk job.
No.
But initially, pictures and paintings was what really caught my attention.
Really?
Yeah. But then I realized that I think you have to be much more, not serious, but you've got to know your onions even more than you do with furniture if you're dealing with art, I think.
There's not the same telltale signs, is there?
No.
No.
And
I should say, when Ali brings a piece of furniture in, you do have a very good eye for, well, you have a certain style which is a sort of very nice English simple looking furniture that's just got that quality about it.
Well, again, I think that a lot of that is what you grow up with.
Yeah.
And I was used to seeing that at home and around the places that I used to go to. So it slightly just, I've got quite a sort of magpie's intuition as well. I like collecting things.
Yeah.
I hoard things. I like to hang on to stuff. So definitely. So wherever I was going, sort of growing up, my eye I found was just definitely contacting with stuff.
Well, you've done it today. I should say that Ali's arrived this morning within 5 minutes of arrival for a table.
Yeah. Well, you can't help it.
No.
You can't help it.
What's the best thing you've ever bought? Something that's stuck in your head and thought.
Well, I deal with a lot of taxidermy as well as furniture, and I do find that I probably spend the money on really good quality taxidermy over quality furniture. I like quality furniture, but I've sort of worked out that my sort of niche when it comes to trading is not top-end furniture. Neither, thank you very much. Neither is it right at the bottom end either. I'm somewhere in the middle. So I can't say, I might buy a nice piece of Gillows furniture.
Yeah.
I might buy, a sort of big Howard sofa or something like that. But I wouldn't say that I ever bought anything really fantastically important. I like to buy functional things that I can sell fairly quickly, that, to decorators or to private clients.
Do you remember the worst thing you've bought?
Yeah, we all make massive mistakes, don't we?
Don't we just,
But hopefully, you make fewer and fewer mistakes.
Yeah.
And I was once told, and it's a fairly common sort of dealer's adage, that you're never a proper dealer until you learn to take a loss on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad at that. I hate taking a loss on stuff.
Sometimes I'll buy something because I love it, and then I come away and thinking, I love it for what it looks like, but I haven't really thought about the value enough.
Yeah.
And the resale, and I end up thinking, I'm either going to have to live with it or take that loss.
Well, one thing lockdown taught me was actually to slightly keep your powder drier. And instead of doing that, exactly, I like that, and then only later realizing that you might like it, you might think it's wonderful, but for some reason, well, that's what we think, for some reason, other people don't. So you do end up getting stuck with it, and every time you see it, you think, well, hang on, if they're all not liking it, and I'm the only one liking it, then I'm probably the one at fault.
Yeah.
And during lockdown, when we were all buying a bit less, and things weren't going quite as quickly, I found myself being much more disciplined and not just going, I like it, I'll have it, and then thinking about that later.
And things went up in price during lockdown.
Yeah, they did, definitely.
Flew through the roof, yeah. And I think anyone that was trading online was selling out really quickly. Stock became difficult to find. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've avoided going back to the fairs too early because I think it will be chaos.
Well, they've just started again now, and I'm not sure how people are getting on. I know the sale rooms are definitely upped in price.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought at sale now for a year or so. I haven't even looked at the catalogues.
Well, we were the same. The prices that even on our local auction house, because it's all on the saleroom.com, they just went through the roof. And I've been to the smaller fairs for some sort of smaller pickings, but the continental dealers aren't coming over. So I think Brexit's had a massive effect on the trade, especially in terms of selling and buying from abroad.
Brexit's going to be really interesting. It's not going to affect me so much personally, as I mainly deal in English stuff. Yeah. But I know that, especially the London dealers I speak to, all the paperwork and stuff that's going to start coming in, it's going to be really tough. Those people who deal in, what has been fashionable for a very long time, that sort of painted, shabby French Scandinavian look. I mean, it's going to be harder. Yeah. No doubt about it.
And then, do you have a network of restorers yourself? Do you have various people that deal in your various styles of pieces?
No, I don't really. You're my main restorer at the moment, and because I'm spending a lot more time up in North Wales, so it's really handy. I find I need to have a restorer, decent restorer, a good upholsterer, a good taxidermy specialist, and those to me are the three people that I rely on. And we are, as you well know, we're quite loyal to the people that we find and know. And we're also very secretive as well. We don't like people come and say, who's your restorer? You think...
You know how busy they always are.
Well, you know how busy... Well, I know a lot of the really big dealers, they obviously want to keep the restorers to themselves because otherwise the restorer won't work, for them. But I don't bring you that much stuff because I try not to buy stuff which is... That's where you're lucky. You can buy anything thinking that I can do that now. I can restore that because we've got to think, I've got to get it to Alex, how long is it going to take, and then you get excited, you want to put it on Instagram and stuff before it's restored. You've got to just keep it back slightly.
True. I mean, to be honest, as Tatters will tell you, I tend to put our stuff to the back.
Do you?
We're just so busy all the time.
Well, that's very good if you want to just do it on weekends.
And we're working through this weekend. We've got a big order going back to a nice country house, and it all has to be ready. So it's a weekend working this. Coming up.
But let me ask you a question. I mean, how long have you been doing this for now?
Started at 14, so 31 years.
And are you still as enthusiastic as you were? I mean, do you get...
When I see something quality, a piece came in this week under there from Burley House. A huge chest used for carrying the silver from,
is that it there?
From house to house.
Cool.
I mean, beautiful thing. It looks incredible. Obviously.
What's it like inside?
Is
it fitted?
But the customer who's bought it, who is a salt dealer of all things,
really
wants
put salt in it.
Yeah, well, he wants his silver salt.
Does he really?
Yeah, but he wants drawers fitted into it.
And what's the lock on something like that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And what does it weigh?
It's not that heavy because there's nothing inside. So mahogany base.
So it wasn't because people were worrying that it was going to get stolen. It was just in transit, and you needed somewhere safe to carry it all around.
So it'd go on the carriage, all the silver in, locked up, taken off to the house, put the grand display out. So it's incredible. So what's on your plans for this year?
What's on my plans for this year? Much the same as usual. I mean, I think we've got to be completely honest, and I don't think I know a dealer who's really struggled, who's needed to work, who's really struggled last year. And there are lots of reasons we think this might be the case. Now, people, for whatever reason, have been buying. So if you've got the right things to be able to sell, you would have been doing okay. So it's whether that is going to continue, or whether we're going to find there's going to be a slight drop-off as people get back to work. They're not looking around their houses so much. They might not have as much money. It's been really, really tough on a lot of people. But some people have not been spending it. They haven't been allowed to spend it. So they've got a bit of money, maybe perhaps, that they could have suddenly said, well, I'll spend it on some furniture. Or buy something nice, a nice picture with it.
Working on the house and spending on an antique, that's an investment.
Definitely.
I agree, it's been a really busy time for dealers. So that's why the stock has been getting more scarce.
It's a funny one, isn't it? You do hear a lot, well, I just can't find it, I can't find the stock, I can't find anything good. You'll always find something good if you're putting the work in. And the most successful dealers are those dealers who are working hard.
And I think a lot of successful dealers are the ones that it's their passion, not just their job. So even if you're not out about at the fair and the antique shops or in the antique centres, the auction houses, you're online, constantly sifting through things.
There's been, interestingly, because I had a shop on Lily Road, and speaking to some of the dealers there who weren't, who did very, very good trade, but had very, very little online presence.
Yeah.
And then suddenly something like this happened. And they had said, well, I didn't need websites, I didn't need to do this and I didn't need to do that. And then suddenly the only way to buy was online. And it caught some people, amazingly, who unawares. Because you would have thought that everyone in this business would have a website.
Yeah.
And in fact, not everyone in this business had a website, and they needed to think really fast and get themselves up to speed.
Quickly. I've watched lots of them pop up on because Instagram seems to have become the main selling point for antiques, very much so.
Instagram has been extraordinary. I don't think Instagram works better for any other trade than sort of ours in a funny way. And I think it's because you can do one photograph, not the whole thing, not the whole chair, just a detail of that thing, just to fire people's imagination. And they don't have to go to your website, they don't have to fiddle around or call you necessarily immediately, but it's just, if you've got something good, you'll sell it immediately on Instagram.
And that's where a good decorative eye comes in. Because if you can appreciate the shape and the quality of something, you know that just a small section is enough to tell somebody that's special. And
then just call. And then, I don't put a sold sign next to one of my items on Instagram once it's sold.
No.
So I will still keep getting inquiries. But that does annoy people to an extent because things often go so quickly that someone might ring up, 10, 15 minutes after you put something on Instagram, a good thing. And it's already gone. And they feel that they've sort of missed out.
And I don't know if you're like this, but if we sell something from the tatters shop and then you end up having 50 more inquiries about that one thing, you think...
Well, that's why if you're... to be completely honest, one of the reasons I don't like putting red stickers on it is because I don't really want... if something hasn't sold... You don't really want necessarily it to look like 6 months later that you haven't sold it. If you start putting, if your trade is so quick on Instagram that you can be putting red stickers on the whole time, then I think one should. But a lot of the higher end dealers, they don't struggle on Instagram, but they don't sell it like we might.
No.
Because it's expensive, you need to see it, you've got to go round, you've got to really think about it.
Serious money.
So, but they still do well because it gets people's interest. But they won't tick over as much as the sort of mid-range.
No.
I think people use, on Instagram, you still want to feel you're getting a deal.
Yeah.
We all want to feel that we're getting...
It's not like walking into a posh shop.
It's not like walking into a posh shop. But then again, you do have dealers who, I think Lawfords and all do very well out of Instagram, and they're, they're very high end and have lots of nice sort of...
And so, what all dealers do, I guess, is develop that network over time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You develop that restorer and your supply chain and the chain you sell to, and you sort of find yourself in a position in the trade. And it is possible to move up.
Yep.
But you have to put in the work before you can start moving up that ladder, I find.
Yeah, definitely. And you do feel that as we said earlier, your yard of restorer, taxidermy restorer, upholsterer, it becomes quite and if you were a carpet dealer or a silver dealer, you'd have to have them. But it's all the people that you spend time with, you chat to, and it's just. I think that has to suit a certain person as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to just come here and go, right, Alex, here you go. Can you do this for me? Tell me when to pick it up, and off I go. I want to see what you've got, what you're up to, what you're doing, and just sort of catch up.
And you have to build that understanding between each other.
Definitely.
And you have to build that relationship so if I did do something that wasn't right, you can say to me, it's not right, can you redo it? And it's not a problem.
That happens with new upholsterers more often than not. Yeah. But we're all quite set in our ways. And so I've got to know you well enough to be able to not upset you if something, nothing has been wrong so far, but to say, Alex, you've overdone that, or that's too highly polished, or this and that, or the upholsterer's used too many staples, or it's not quite... Because people don't like being criticised. None of us do.
And upholstery is a tough one, I find, as well, because especially the early English furniture has to have that nice, light, thin line to it. And
I think...
over padded and over upholstered.
Over upholstered, definitely. I think upholstery is one of the few ones that I like to maybe have two.
Yeah.
One for high end which is going to cost money, but they're going to do a cracking job. And someone who's much happier just putting it to calico, just stuffing it, re-webbing, re-springing, making a chair good again, rather than for however much it might be.
Well, the job needs to justify the work.
Correct.
If there's no profit in it, don't spend the money. A lot of the time, people will bring things to me that aren't dealers looking at having something restored to sell. 9 times out of 10, I say, don't waste your money.
Do you really?
Yeah.
How interesting.
So if you spend your money on that, you will not recoup the rest.
Yeah.
So, but it's people in the trade. I don't need to tell that. They know what's what, and they understand what my price bracket is for restoration, what their profit margins are, and you make a simple decision.
Absolutely. But that, in your case, that the person you're having to tell maybe it's not worth doing is someone who it's a much loved item of furniture which they've had forever and ever. It's probably worth 50 quid. It's going to cost. Sentimentality comes into it a lot. So if they're prepared to spend that sort of money.
We had an old guy bring a walking stick in last week, and it was his friend's walking stick, had a gold band on it, and they said to him, his friend said, "When I die, that's your stick." And his friend was taller than him, so he's been given the stick, he's brought it down, and he wants it taken down by 3.5 inches.
What, in the middle?
Yeah.
So why can't you just chop the end off?
Because he wants it taken off where the handle is, because this is mean. The gold band was taken off by the family before they give him the stick.
You're kidding.
It wasn't.
Oh, that's really naughty. I mean,
it wasn't enough gold for it to be financially significant.
Oh, that's terrible.
Element of that.
Well, that's why they wanted. Did it have its initials or something on it? Presumably.
It must have had something on there.
Yeah. I think I would have been magnanimous enough.
And the guy who's having the stick done, he's 99 or 100 already.
Really? Gosh, so what's that going to cost to take presumably, is the stick straight or is it slightly tapered? Got a sword in it.
We take a loss.
Yeah.
It's just
perfect. That's just being a good bloke. That's good.
So it's a lot of the time, but some people will, if the piece of furniture is £100, but it belonged to grandma, then they'll spend the extra money.
But as you're not an expensive restorer. You're a brilliant restorer, but I don't ever feel that I'm coming here and going, right, God, am I going to have to sit down before, So, whatever you do, and you do some really intricate things as well as just polished jobs for me.
Well, I think we're lucky here because we have a massive variety of work. We have a high volume of work, and because we've got a team. So we don't have to sting everybody all day long to make a decent profit.
And you've got a very interesting array of clientele from all the posh houses around here to lowly dealers like me coming in with their rubbish.
Or this week we've been making 4-poster beds out of pews for a B&B with a conservation order on it, so the pews can't leave the building, but they can be repurposed. So we built them into 4-poster beds. We have to take the offcuts back and bury them under the floorboards.
Oh really?
The conservation.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So it's not technically left the property.
It's not.
How odd.
And then they get lovely 4-poster beds in keeping.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting. So I love coming in here, and it's the ultimate man cave.
Well, you're all exactly.
We've made it like this, so we just enjoy it.
And how many are you? How many people do you employ?
There's 3 of us that work all day long.
Yeah.
So and there's been.
Well, that's because you're established. You've been doing it forever and ever, and it's a really well. I mean, as I said right at the beginning, I'm spending more and more time up here, and therefore it's important for me to have a little yard here. But it's the nice thing about being an antique dealer. Wherever you go, you discover your local dealers, local sale rooms, your local restorers, upholsterers, etc. It's a pain you're so far away for all the bits and pieces I'm buying in the south, though. But I'm actually looking for a restorer in the home counties. If anyone knows of anyone who wants some work, I'm not pinching anyone's person. So absolutely.
Right then. Well, that was a great chat.
Yeah, good, Alex. Well, absolutely, any time.
And then I should say, Ali has a metal detector channel on YouTube,
which is very niche.
Holt's Hammers Sagas.
Holt's Hammers Sagas. Yeah,
I watched them. They're brilliant, fascinating. With a little dog Tasky worth a watch. Yeah. And then your AVW on Instagram.
AVW Antiques on Instagram.
Yeah. And you'll see, as soon as you have a look, you can see the quality of Ali's eye, because the furniture he buys it's got that certain something about it.
Well, thank you very much. That's really kind. Thanks, Alex.
And what's going on for the rest of today?
I am picking up the stuff from you. I'll get that photograph this afternoon, and that will be on Instagram early this afternoon. Yep. I'm excited about that. And then I pick the boy up from school and bugger around with him for the rest of the afternoon. Let's not say bugger around with him. And then I'll pick the boy up from school.